Drowsy driving, or so-called highway hypnosis, is a problem. A survey conducted by the Traffic Injury Research Foundation shows that 20% of Canadian motorists, that's 1 in 5, dozed off or were about to at least once in the course of the year. It claims more than 400 fatalities annually in this country. For more, I'm joined from Ottawa by Ian Jack. He is Managing Director of Communications and Government Relations at the CAA. Thank you for coming on. 400 fatalities annually. Are those 400 preventable fatalities in your opinion?
For the most part, yes, absolutely. The problem with this issue, though, as opposed to, let's say, drinking and driving, is that it's sometimes less obvious to people when they get behind the wheel. Clearly, if you've had a completely sleepless night, you're aware of that. Some people don't think they're fine to drive after losing 3-4 hours of sleep, and they're really not.
So what other factors contribute to it? Is it just a lack of sleep?
Typically it is, actually. I mean, it's a simple problem, and there's a simple solution, which is not to drive when you're drowsy. But sometimes the simple issues are the most difficult ones to fix for people.
Yeah, it's easy to say don't drive, but for a lot of people this is their livelihood, Ian, and we have in this society a lot of people working shift work and changing over. I understand that the driver of the train, he had been on the night shift, just switched over to day shift. We've got a lot of people in situations where their sleep rhythms, their circadian rhythms are off.
We do, as a matter, and so that's why I say it's not, the solution sounds simple, but for a lot of people it isn't that easy to do. There are a number of smaller things people can do, but they are Band-Aids, you know, leaving the window open or opening and shutting the window a little bit, playing some loud music while you're driving, and so on. But ultimately, sleep is the only answer, and that's a difficult thing to say to people, but it is the truth, unfortunately.
When we talk about impaired driving, people often think impaired by, as you mentioned, alcohol or by drugs. We can be impaired by fatigue, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Studies show that losing 4 or 5 hours off your sleep is the same as a 0.08 alcohol level, which in most of this country is the legal limit. So it's as though you went to a friend's party, drank a fair bit, and then got behind the wheel, which is a pretty scary thing. As I said earlier, people, I think these days, most of us are aware of the effects of alcohol. Maybe we just need to be a little bit more aware of how severe the effects can be of a little bit of lack of sleep.
Sure, but missing a few hours sleep isn't a crime, as drinking and driving is. So
Absolutely not.
How do you convince
Absolutely
people?
Not. And, well, we just need to do public education. We need to talk about the issue. We need people to be aware that they could be harming themselves or somebody near and dear to them if they do have to drive when they're drowsy. We had an episode here on Parliament Hill just the other day where Senator Romeo Dallaire fell asleep by his own account at the wheel. Luckily, nobody was injured, but they could have been. That was actually a very unusual case because it was broad daylight on Parliament Hill.